Good evening, guys. Welcome to the fifth episode of Country Liquor to Classy Champagne. Today I have two important guests with me. Uh, Sanjay from 50K Ventures. He is a CEO of 50K Ventures. It's a early stage investment fund which invests very early into your startup. And I have a very young, dynamic 19-year-old CEO of a fintech slash NBFC company, Swapnil. He's the CEO of Mudra. Uh, thanks, guys. Thanks, Sanjay. Thanks, Swapnil, for joining me.
Yeah.
Great, Sanjay. Let me start with you. Tell me during these times, what are you seeing? How are the times have changed? Are you seeing many startups coming up, and are you seeing that trend in the early stage, or a first time entrepreneurs or a college kids starting up? Is that change you are seeing?
Yeah, so there is no, first I should say yes, this is very interesting times. This entire COVID has disrupted the entire industry. Most of the sectors are badly impacted, and it also opened up a lot of new opportunities for some new age solutions, new age problems. A lot of companies are coming forward. Yeah, because we are talking more specific to the student startups. Yes, I could see now, especially the moment the COVID has came into the limelight, a lot of these college students came up with a lot of solutions for this COVID-related problems. It could be mobile apps, web applications, hardware, various solutions, right? So there were tons of hackathons happened, and few people who went up to the finalists did pursue few of the products. Few also got grants and early stage seed fund. That's happening in one way specific to the problem of COVID, number one. And second thing, again, I'm also seeing it was there earlier. It's not just because of the COVID. There's a good amount of students, especially this techies from engineering colleges. That's where most of the people we find around. They start building something out of their dorm because that's very convenient to them. And one more new trend, what I've seen, especially in few of these IITs, triple IITs, and NITs of the world, now students think like entrepreneurship is also an alternative career which they can pursue because they have the tech skills to build something and take it forward. And there are also a good number of companies, student based, are being funded. Even in my portfolio, there were 3 companies where we funded students, which I'll talk a little later on that. Overall, the sentiment is great. The acceptance of student startups is good, but there needs to be a lot of handholding from the investor side, which again I'll talk on few of the use cases, what these startups need to be really extremely careful about as they keep growing. Because these people come with a nice idea, build a prototype or an MVP, and then validate and try to reach the investors, which is a very good path what they taken initially. And moving forward, it all depends on what is their vision and what is roadmap towards the company.
Great. No, I think you talked about two important points we'll discuss in some time. One is, and this is what the feedback has been for HostelFund also, that apart from the funding is the hand-holding journey of the students, which is very important. And second, we will really love to know about your experiences of those 3 portfolio companies of the student entrepreneurs. But before that, Swapnil, this is very interesting. So far in the journey of 4 months of HostelFund, we have met or spoken to around 100 odd student entrepreneurs who have built their businesses. I think your story to me, seems to be stand apart in few of the ways. I would really want you to share your journey. What are you doing? How are you doing? What have prompted you to build this company? If you can explain it for our audiences, it will be of great help.
Yeah, well, definitely. I started out in 2018, right? I'm just 19 years old. And I remember at that time, I took a break of 1 year after completing my high school. And I was already interested into the finance business and the domain itself. So I started going to my dad's office, which is an NBFC. And at that time, the fintech industry was booming. And then foreign institution wanted to tie up with the NBFC and start a similar Mudra Quick like product, which is a payday loan product in India. So, I got working with them, and I studied the fintech industry in and out. I studied all the procedures, recovery procedures, how the underwriting is done, what sort of marketing, and how to acquire the clients, and complete processes from end to end. Now, unfortunately, due to some loopholes in their system, the foreign institution had to leave because they made some very huge losses. But the idea stuck with me, right? It was a very good idea, and I thought, if we could iron out the loopholes and the drawbacks, we could have an amazing product deliver to the Indian people. So that's how I started. And I started in, I think, December 2018, and I built the product, the tech, the company, everything within 3 or 4 months, and we launched the product on March 7th 2019. So that's how we got started. Now, to give you a little bit background about what Mudra Quick is doing right now for the Indian market, we are India's first truly instant loan. Now, why do we say that we are truly instant loan? Well, if you see into the fintech market, most of the fintechs are people who are from the tech background. No one is from the finance background, and that's what I brought in into Mudra Quick. Help from our NBFC got me thinking that we should develop a product which is delivers what we say on it, right? So that's how we got into thinking that what if we could build a product कि जिसमें हम truly instant loan disperse कर पाएंगे to all the customers, and that's what we did. Due to the third party NBFC block, many of the fintechs are struggling in dispersing the loans instantly to the customer's account, right? And that's a loophole that many of the customers face challenged in, and that's what we ironed out and fixed. So with the help of the NBFC, we were able to transfer money into the customer's account within seconds using IMPS, right? So that was one of the big USPs of Mudra Quick, and that's how we got our first 1 million clients with word of mouth. We did not do any marketing as such because we were short on budget. So that was one of the USPs that really took off Mudra Quick and the product itself. So that was one of the USP. Second, the common thing I saw in all the fintechs is that they were very location restricted. So they were only serving to the people who are based in tier 1 and tier 2 cities, right? But all of our clients who were residing in tier 3 or in even tier 4 cities, they were not getting served. They were underserved. They were not being served by the banks, the NBFCs, and all the fintechs even. So that's another USP of Mudra Quick, that we are truly pan India. We have given 150 loans in Kashmir. We have given 200 loans in Andaman Nicobar. So yeah, for Mudra Quick, that are the USPs, and that's how we got started.
Yeah, great. Yeah, this is very awesome. Yeah, at the age of 19, you have been able to build a company which is in a very competitive market and have been served more than 1 million odd customers. That's really commendable. We'll come to that. Before that, Sanjay, as you also spoke, you have around 3 student startup companies in your portfolio. How has been your experience with them? I really want you to help us from an investor's perspective. One, before investment, during the investment, and after the investments, what have been your challenges? How are they different from the regular startups?
Sure. So I should say we add now the history but one company succeeded, they gave us an exit. They got acquired by another larger firm, which is a very good sign. It happened in 2.5 years. So I won't take the names, but I would like to give the brief about this company, what made us invest in them. So when it comes to a student entrepreneur, the first and the foremost thing, what matters the most is the passion of the studentpreneur. What is thinking, because the moment a studentpreneur comes with an idea and a prototype saying that, hey, I identified this problem and I built a solution, this is a MVP and I believe in this, that shows how different he is from his other class peers and how is he thinking. That shows very clearly that he has that passion and desire to make it something big. And someone having that spark, if you feel, I feel it's some responsibility that to also support him. Yes, it's always a very risky bet when you're doing for an other mature startups who has already an experience. It's a calculative risk, but here the risk is much more higher when you're taking on a student, because zero experience, it's completely with his skill set and passion, where even investors need to spend a lot of time in handholding them, mentoring, guiding, coaching, because the chances for them to make more mistakes are very high because they've never done it before. But still, there's something called belief and also giving him an opportunity to make it big That's where you need to be really open. And we did the same thing. And I'm glad that all my partners also were happy to support the studentpreneurs. And this one company we did more than 1 crore, which was a very much high big risk ticket size. But
You invested 1 crore in them. More
yes,
than
1.3 crore, you should say that.
for a student entrepreneur, this is very good. Very
Yeah.
okay.
So interesting. This company had a lot of challenges in terms of to look at because there are 6 co-founders, all classmates, right? So in a way, it's good, but it's also bad.
Yeah.
So 6 people is what happens tomorrow. Some dispute comes, how the difference of opinion comes. But they managed it very well. They had that bond from the college, and being young, they were very learning, and they took our advice very seriously, and they executed. The other advantage, because being 6 co-founders, everyone had a serious role to play. So that it's like a first founding team plus the first set of employees, like it's them only. And they were able to build and execute it fast because of the strength. But most of the cases may not work, because here it was a rare, I say, because 6 people working on something else is not that easy.
It's not.
It's extremely difficult. And other 2 companies, again, they're also good products. One was a mobile app, and other also in web application. One was in news app kind of thing. Again, we liked the concept, what they tried to build using their entire technical skills. It was in 2016, and that's where the digital is picking up, and we felt like it's something we need to look at, and we did that. But there, the company, again, it's a very good learning. And I also keep telling a lot of studentpreneurs is, when you're choosing your team, be very careful that whom you're choosing. That means don't choose because they are your classmates, but you're getting into some serious relation with some externals, people's money, which is a responsibility, and you have to drive it. So in the other company's case, the founders had a difference of opinion, and they had to split. And we could understand at that age as they're growing. And more importantly, what happened, like they always, one guy was had one opinion, other guy had another opinion. They never came into the agreement, and that didn't work out for them. And we understood that, and that company has been just dissolved. Third one is, again, it's a students in the final year. They built in a deep tech solution. They did an amazing job, like great job in terms of the technology, what they built. Very passionate guys. Again, 3 co-founders, triple IT, again, a normal institution, and on a non-engineering background. The best thing what we loved about them was, like, they tried to hire the resources who are much more experienced than them. So they bought in 10, 12 years experienced sales guy. So normally studentpreneurs don't think of that, right? These people thought, like, they realize they don't have that experience. They know what are the strengths were. They focus on the strengths by building this product. They just focus on the tech. And they realize, like, it's not the strength to do the go-to-market and other kind of sales activity. That's why they bought a senior guy from the corporate industry. And the best part is they convinced him to take a pay cut and plus some stock options. And he also liked the same attitude of them, and he agreed to it. That was a very good sign for us to say that how well they could negotiate to bring someone on board and make them run the company. This company also has got an VC commitment with high ticket size. But when it came to the last closure, it had a challenge. Again, there's some kind of, there are a lot of things actually why deals don't go through. One of the thing happened. But this company also we had to call it off, because here also one of the learning. See, as a studentpreneurs, the passion is there, motivation is there, you're building. But one thing you need to remove that, you may not make a lot of money in the initial years. Yeah. It takes some time, because you need to learn, you make a lot of mistakes, and you're running on by yourself, you're driving by yourself. So the things won't happen overnight. It takes long time. It will take years to establish and succeed in any company, especially if you don't have any great support initially, right? So here what happened, this company, the team has been spotted by one more larger MNC. They just made a very good payback offer, which was like they couldn't resist. And they came to us and they discussed openly. Again, the honesty was there. They said, like, we would like to return your investment. And these offers came, even the pressure from the families and others, like, we need to take up this opportunity. And they were wise, like, we agreed. We said, like, it's fine. I think they're comfortable over there. Otherwise, even if we say no, they can't work here, because their art is over there. So they returned the money to the investors, and they went and got acquired with that company. And they all are making good paybacks and better the learning. They're still in touch. All these three companies founders are still in touch. One guy already started building on something else. So what I'm trying to say is, Chris, the lot of challenges you have to keep in mind. It's not just the idea or passion. At every stage you're evolving, there will be a new set of challenge because you're not experienced earlier. So you should prepare for that. If you're getting into entrepreneurship, especially raising money, there's a huge, huge responsibility. Even if someone comes and make you an offer, you need to say no to it. Then only you have to be prepared.
No, but this is very heartening to know, Sanjay. Because since now I'm working very closely with student entrepreneurs, very few cases where I've seen established investors like yourself who have been investing or at least looking at these kids for some time now. Otherwise, most of these student entrepreneurs have been pitching their ideas to the angel investors. But this is because we need many such funds, not only from a country's growth perspective, investment perspective, but from from a wealth creation opportunities for the investors also. And secondly, and as I say that for Hostel Fund, the vision is that students should consider entrepreneurship as their first career choice. So the more the people will come, and learnings which you are currently sharing are quite helpful. Very less investors talk about them, so really thanks to them. um, Swapnil, Sanjay talked about a very one important point, and I think you also have been successful in hiring more experienced people as a part of your team. So can you explain us how have you been able to do that? I think you have a team of around 30-40 people now. Uh, are you the youngest among them? How you have been able, being a CEO and still are still in your teens, how you have been able to hire experienced folks?
Yeah, so I think Sanjay makes a very good point in in that particular area, especially for people like me who are very young, and you're are starting a startup at a very young age. It's very important to take help from people, right? So building that relationships with people, hiring people who are with experience, it is a very important factor. I'm the youngest in my company, right? So nobody is younger than me. In fact, nobody comes even close to me within 5 or 10 years. Everybody is 25, 30 plus. Yeah, it has definitely been a challenge to hire these people. But yeah, I think that it's a very important factor when you run a startup at this stage, right? So yeah, I think we have to do that as co-founders, and take advice from people.
So tell me one more thing, Swapnil. Had your family not NBFC business, or you did not get a chance to go to your father's office, would you still be an entrepreneur? Or if entrepreneur, would you still be doing the same thing which you are doing currently, or you had some other passion?
No, so I firmly believe that whatever interest I have in the finance game is all the credit goes to my dad, because he got me interested in this field. Yeah, definitely. If my father did not have an NBFC, and I did not have a financial support from him, definitely I would not be into the finance sector, because it is a capital intensive sector. You need a lot of capital to even start a business. So I would not be in the finance sector, but I would definitely be an entrepreneur, because this is what I like and really love doing. I've always been poor in studies. I've never got good grades, but one thing I always do successfully is run a business. So yeah, definitely I would be an entrepreneur, even at a much smaller scale, and I would not be here talking to you guys, but still I would be an entrepreneur.
No. Even if you would have done your pilot or project, we would love to, and we are very happy to talk to young entrepreneurs. Sanjay, so tell me, and we talked about this as two of your portfolio companies also. It's not an easy decision for the young kids, because the passion which starts in the college, when I believe is the is the best time to take the risk, because you're not paying the salaries, you're not paying the rents, almost everything other than the product or the tech, everything is free. But that project love, or that the startup love, in most of the cases does not carry forward. So is it okay if they find their love in the corporate job, or they should continue and take their neck out of and take risks? What do you think? And if there is a dilemma, how should student entrepreneurs or the people who are thinking to start something take that decision?
Yeah, so if you ask me, with my experience, and I also still keep seeing and listening to a lot of things, guys, most of the people are having that lot of high energy, high passion. Sometimes it could also be that short-term thing, right? It could also be that like infatuation, like it may not be in true love what they're doing. That's what they need to really realize. They may think because they've seen in the news some young guy, probably they may get inspired with Swapnil and say like, hey, Swapnil is doing, why can't I do it?
Yeah.
Swapnil, because it could be an accidental, or it could be truly passionate, or he has some kind of path. Is destined to be an entrepreneur, but it may not happen with everyone. That's why a lot of people fail. The failure rate is very high because of all these reasons, right? If you ask me, my advice would be for the young guys, if you get an opportunity to a good company, a company which you feel that can enhance your skills and which will help you to build and pursue your passion, yes, you should join there. Because today, even working, still a lot of people do something at the nights or at the weekends. That possibility is there. Because a lot of people try to give up as they keep growing because the financial reason. Finance is something may not support you in a startup initially. It comes in later stage only once you prove it. Especially for people who are dependent on some external finances, then it's not for them. Like they need to first plan something and then get into this. Because the moment you're into an entrepreneurship, there's no regular paychecks, no regular income until the product goes and you're not sure it's going to succeed or not. That mindset have to be there. So you need to make that arrangement. And secondly, you need to be not depending on investors' money. Investors' money is only a bonus. It comes only if you have achieved or proven something. Don't think that you build this product, you taken this, you get first 5 customers and go to investor will fund. That never happens. There are a lot of reasons why investor funds. So don't build products and startups thinking that some angel will come and fund and you'll grow, you'll make multiple valuation. No, that's a dream. That's a myth. That will never happen. So purely it depends on your passion of what you want to solve. That problem is a really pressing problem and the solution is a very superior solution and you strongly believe, and then you need to validate and then work towards that. It takes a lot of time. So there are also a good number of tech companies who started in DOM and who succeeded, who raised money in a very engaged. It is there. I'm not saying that it won't happen. It's happening, but you need to realize what it takes to go in that path. That's very important.
No, I agree. And I think again, you made a very, very important point. In fact, in one of my last videos, I talked about that don't build for investors. Never build for investors. And that's true for every entrepreneur. You should build for actual customers. If there is a gap in the market, if you can fulfill that, build for that. So I think that's a great point. So Swapnil, are you looking to raise money, or you are self-sustainable? How are the unit economics looking like? Will you be able to survive? How are the business model be?
Yeah, so basically right now Mudra Quick as a product is very self-sustaining, and we are already a bootstrap. So it is using its own money and generating profits. Of course, we are looking at raising money, but that is for our another project, which is a credit card, right? So it's a very novel idea that we are bringing into the market. It's basically based on e-commerce and providing credit facility to all the people through the means of e-commerce. We are calling it FinCom, which is a word that we at Mudra Quick have developed and established. So for that, and as well as scaling up the product as well, we are looking at raising funds, not equity, but we are looking at debt.
Okay. And tell me, are you going to continue your studies, or what's the plan?
So right now I'm already studying, as well as putting the efforts into the company. Of course, I'm doing an external. So 90% of my time goes into the company. So, but I don't have any plans for studying further. I just want to get a degree, bachelor's degree, and then just continue the pursuit of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I think bachelor's degree is must to get married, because to do
So
the business, I don't
it
think
helps
you
in
require
all sorts. It helps you in all sorts, marriage, anywhere, having coming up with relatives and all such. So you need a degree to, establish that you are a proper guy and a decent guy. So yeah, I think that is one of the factors that you have to look into.
No, I understand. I understand that. Sanjay, and I think I have been discussing with you. I'm curious, and I'm sharing this with you to pick your brains. So far we have received 100 odd student entrepreneurs, and what is very surprising uh, for me, 90% of them are and they are the running business, or they have the project. They are not the idea stage companies. They have something to show, okay, whether they are making money or not. 90% of them are from the students of less than 20-21 years of age, which means they are not an MBA students. The hypothesis was that the MBA students would be more than willing to try out different things because they have more experience. They are now studying MBA. But most of the businesses which are getting made, at least what I am seeing, the trend is from engineering students or the school kids. And MBA students have not been, it's maybe because they have loans or their aspirations are very different. I don't know. Are you seeing the same trend, or what do you think? What could be the reason?
Yeah, so when you say MBA, it's somewhere around 22, 23 plus age
Yes.
it comes, and engineering below 20, and that bracket they falls around. Both the mindsets are completely different, right? When it comes to an engineering mindsets, the risk-taking appetite is very high. The ability is very high. They don't think about anything. They just think, आज क्या करना है, कल कैसे present करना है. They don't think about the future. When it comes to MBA, the age, right? So the pressure starts. A few people, they're in a B schools, they have loans. Again, family pressure, they need to get married. And as Swapnil said, yes, society pressure is something inevitable. Starts from your families, neighbors, everyone. Which it's a very challenging thing, especially in the context where most of the startups are there. So those are the primary reasons I seen like to answer your question, like the age and the mindset and the risk appetite at that particular institution, that MBA or engineering matters.
Yeah. And one more thing which I want, what do you think? There are a lot of student entrepreneurs which are coming up in the West, in the US. The same is not the case in India. Um, they are. It's something to do with our educational system or the society. But because what I feel, if entrepreneurship is not being tried at that age, your funnel, at a later age, is going to go down a lot. So what should, as a ecosystem like you, me, or maybe Swapnil now has a role to play, what should we do?
Yeah, so I just trying to recollect my initial days of entrepreneurship. I started entrepreneurship without knowing I'm an entrepreneur at the age of 21, and I'm talking it's more than a decade back. So the time when you're saying you're doing a startup was a very new word and people never understood and all. People used to do a startup or entrepreneur because you didn't get a job. That was the opinion. But things have changed. Times have changed. Today, there are so many examples, role models, success stories happening around, and even parents are also somewhere aware that entrepreneurship. There's enough awareness in the market about entrepreneurship, which was not the case 5 to 6 years back, 6 7 years back, where entrepreneurship was only for the people who have money or who are into technology. But today it's not like that, right? Yes, country like India need to generate more and more entrepreneurs right from the very young age. Today, if you see in India, also the quite number of school kids are coming with ideas. So there's an interesting program you should look up called the Thai grads, the Thai young entrepreneurs. They run across the world. India has a very decent participation, and they come with an amazing, fabulous ideas, and they present it. They make a business plan. very engaged, school kids, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 classes. And the kind of questions they ask, the way they think, we can't do that because their minds are much more fresh. They have more exposure. The way their ideology is different. That's a new age, right? But moving forward, definitely this is going to change. You're going to see the average age of a good entrepreneur is going to be much more lesser than what you're seeing right now. And even the maturity levels are increasing because earlier when we started, there was no one to guide. There's no media or content or any references to learn. Today, sitting at home, you can learn a lot of things. I think Swapnil should need not go to college actually. There's a lot of, even Harvard is offering online courses on finance and other things. You can just pay under $200 and get a certificate from them, which was never the case. Things are changing, right? And again, there is some responsibility on us as investors, as an entrepreneur, as an enabler. We need to definitely create more awareness. See, the way I've seen what have gone wrong in my portfolio, which we have taken the risk in studentpreneurs, that can overcome only if you understand where the things are going wrong. Can we correct that? That means if someone is investing in a student venture, there had to be an incubation program or handholding model until they are on their own. It may take a year or more. That have to be done. So these kind of checks and balances need to be kept in mind when any student vendor is getting funded or they're looking to build something and take it. All this happens if what we have gone through and if we can contribute back, it will definitely improvise. Yes, there's a responsibility on each and everyone if you want even these young entrepreneurs to come up with more and more potential solutions.
No, great. No, I agree. I think these are some of the points which, as an ecosystem, all of us have to think about. Then only we will see, a lot of numbers of entrepreneurs coming up. Swapnil, one of my last question to you is, what's your source of inspiration? How do you get motivated? Do you read? Who's your role model? Being a young entrepreneur, I'm sure you must be having some, and I'm sure you must be having bad days also at work. What keeps you moving?
So yeah, definitely. One of the closest source of inspiration, motivation that I have is my dad himself, because he himself is an entrepreneur, and he's because my grandfather was not an entrepreneur; he was a government officer, and we at that time did not have much money. So my father is a self-made man, and I've seen his journey and been a part of it since my early ages. So one of the closest and I would say the strongest motivation for me in life is my father. Uh, Definitely, I do have bad days, and I have very strong bad days. You would say, because I run on two poles. Either I am having a very good day or either having a very bad day. So at those days, I always look up to my dad and take advice from him. Apart from that, I was born and brought up in Gujarat, so inspiration was everywhere. You go out of your home and there are all the businesses running and people are talking about business and money and exposure and all this. So from the start, I've been inspired by the concept of business itself. So yeah, I think those are my sources of motivation.
Great. So all of student entrepreneurs should move to Gujarat to
I,
be.
if you have a chance and if you can, definitely.
Great. Sanjay, one last question to you. As an investor, uh, what will you look for in these student entrepreneurs if you have a choice to invest now? Will you, as one of the things which you talked about is obviously their passion. Other than that, what are the 3-4 key metrics which you will look at? If some of these entrepreneurs come to you.
Sure, definitely. The first and the important thing is what problem are they trying to solve, and is the problem really pressing problem? Sometimes it be a problem, but there's no need for solution. Still, people are fine with it. They may not look for that solution, but the problem have to be really an pressing problem so that there is a demand for that. Second and actual most important thing is the team. By the way, it's a single co-founder. Today, it's a no, because as someone is growing, it's going to be extremely difficult being a single co-founder. There have to be an at least one or more co-founders, so that the startup in initial stage can be handled well, right? So team matters the most. Like, what are the strengths, what value can then bring on table, and how are they delegating work to each other in the entire process. Third is overall the business model. How are you working on that? How did you thought? That means that shows how much validation you have done about your product into the market, right? Followed by the fourth would be the monetization strategy. Today, everyone wants revenues to come in. So earlier the days, traction would have made more excited everyone. Then later, people says revenue first. Today it's all about profitability. So can your revenues and can you have that kind of margin so that over a period of time you become profitable and then later you scale, right? And again, the fifth one is the market size. How large is the market you're operating in? And that's where investors will be more interested. If you're operating in small markets, it's not exciting enough to invest, because investment is done with the hope that there's a huge market, more customers, more revenues, and multiple returns. So it all leads to the multiple returns on based on the market size. And overall, the roadmap, what could be the path to success? What is their vision towards the company, and how are they directing it towards that? So these are the few parameters what we look in, especially in the studentpreneurs, because the risk is very high, and they're also taking the chance. So these all things need to be even mapped before they get interest from an investor.
Great, great. Swapnil, one last question to you. What would be one or couple of things which you would want to share with your fellow student entrepreneurs, which is largely the mistakes which you made, which could have avoided, or which you think is something which you can share with the colleagues?
Definitely. So one of the vital mistakes that I myself have been guilty of, and I see a lot of people, not only the student entrepreneurs, but all of the entrepreneurs in general, is wasting too much time in the things that don't matter, right? So many of the people that I've seen, and I myself have wasted time and my energy into things that don't really matter, right? One of the things that we as entrepreneurs should focus on is the revenue model, right? Many of the startups right now, I would say 90% of the startups are tech-enabled startups, or are revolving around the concept of tech. So rather than giving much importance to the tech itself, I think we should also focus on the revenue model itself and the profitability of the company. Because ultimately, you cannot just be in hopes of some investor coming in and giving you 5 or 10 crores, and then you can scale up. You would also have to think about the future and how would you sustain if you don't get an investor. So the major reason that 65% of the startups fail is they are not able to reach profitability, or are not really putting in time and effort into the revenue model and the business model. So I think that's one fatal mistake that that every entrepreneur makes. So I think they should look into that and try to avoid it.
No, great. Yeah, thanks. I think on this note, and I think both of you made two important points that, it's always best to look for paying customers, build for paying customers. That's more important, if I'm sure and then only you will be able to move towards profitability, and investors might look for you. Don't need to look for investors. Investors will come out looking for you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Sanjay. Thanks, Swapnil. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Ankur.